Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jez7780, and this is What Grinds My Gears, episode 12, biggest E3. And I decided to start this a little earlier. Just had some thoughts that I wrote down. Figured I'll just go run through them. I'm gonna speak a little bit about E3 in a little bit, but I wanted to touch on some of the some of the things that just came out of recently in the last week or so. I know there's been a lot of discussion on Twitter, and we did have some things on Planet Xbox, which I think this week Planet Xbox is going to be on Friday. We're merging, I believe, with the Iron Lords podcast. The shout out to those guys over there. They had a good show on Sunday. But yeah, definitely, and kind of go along the lines of what I was talking about on Wednesday's Planet Xbox last week. But I just wanted to just start talking about stuff because there's been a lot of stuff going on. I've been like, oh, should I do a show? Should I do this? Should I rant? Should I do this? And I'm like, then I get calmed down. I'm like, let me start one. Now I'm just kind of there. There's a couple of topics though that I'm really, definitely want to touch. But let's start in. So the first thing that just came out today was the was Rage 2. Now they've been teasing gameplay with that whole Walmart leak that came out last week, and now Rage 2 actually showed the gameplay of it, and it looks really cool. Definitely, I had the whole what is it? The definitely looks like Bulletstorm meets kind of Mad Max, a little Mad Max thrown in there, and looks really cool. Definitely I have the Bulletstorm feel, like with the whole like anti-gravity jumping, and then you go into rage mode. Definitely a totally different feel than first Rage. Rage was very kind of Mad Max, slow, methodical, kind of it wasn't like this kind of Doom esque feel of just this chaos. So it definitely looks like you'll be fighting a lot of enemies at one time, waves of enemies, I'm sure. But it definitely looks cool. We'll see what the missions are. We'll see how it goes. And definitely, I think it's slated for 2019. I'm sure Bethesda is going to show more about it at E3. I believe they're having their conference on Sunday. I believe they have it after Microsoft's on Sunday. At least they did last year. But again, one of those kind of questions. Like, I don't know if the Walmart leak kind of made them push up their gameplay announcement, if that was all supposed to be saved for E3. Not sure if that's what they're planning, but it's just interesting that about this whole wait to E3 thing, and I just see publishers and things like that just kind of teasing games, showing gameplay, showing stuff, which means that they might have more to show at E3, which going along, and I'll talk about E3, but just to jump in there, it's like, this whole like we're sitting around going, wait to E3, we don't know what Microsoft's going to show and all this other stuff. It just seems like everybody else seems to, even Nintendo today is like teasing a Pokemon, like there's some Pokemon teases going on, Pokemon games for the Switch. Like it just makes it feel like everybody has something and has something to show, and Microsoft just kind of just, I feel like they really don't have any that much to show. And I think we have to listen to what Phil said, is that things take time. I don't think he really has anything to show. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. And I'll talk more about that in a little bit about E3. The second thing, going into speaking about Microsoft with State of Decay 2. So State of Decay 2, some people got previews. They've been streaming it. I think the some people have got review copies. Shout out to Lord Addict. He unfortunately didn't get a review copy. I tried with all the powers I have, but just shout out, try to get him a review copy. Just like, he played the first one really a lot, and he knows a lot about it. And I thought it would, he really wanted to review this one. Unfortunately, they didn't send him a review copy, which is kind of bull. But because I was watching the GameSpot stream yesterday, and that they will play, and everybody's playing on PC. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why PC codes went out. I don't know if it's what's going on. I know the beta is supposed to start on the 18th. I know that the Xbox One filled up pretty quick. I don't know how many slots they have for the Xbox One, but the PC one seemed to be open, and they seem to be more testing the beta on the PC. They even want you to download a configuration file and send your setup in order to access the PC one. And they've been showing it a lot on PC. But anyway, the GameSpot one, they're streaming it. And they have no information. They have no, like, they don't know. The people asking questions like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you raid another base? Can you do this thing?" And they're just like, "I don't know. I don't know. No, just run around. Yeah, that's okay." And very nonchalant and just like, it's just such like, don't they send out kind of like like information? Like, I really think that, again, it's the marketing and just the kind of the message, sending it out there. And even when I heard feedback from when they had that initial impressions back on May 1st, that they kind of sat them in a room for 3 hours. They kind of just let the people just play 3 hours, and they were there to help, but really they weren't kind of guiding them through the game. They kind of just let them just explore. And that's why when they came back from May 1st, a lot of outlets were kind of just like, well, this tethering, I don't like that. Oh, you can't go back to your base, you had to end the mission and things like that. And there was no explanation, nothing. And basically these guys came back and just kind of, oh, and I forgot I opened up the chat. Yeah. But like basically they didn't even hold on, I'm gonna mute this. Oops, did I do that? There we go. Oh, there we go. They didn't even like, it just seems just a lot of ignorance going on every end. Like, people just making judgment statements, people just kind of, well, it's tethering, and you can't do this, and your friends can't go here, and the host and the guest and all this other stuff. And even when they explained it, it's not what I think was billed as the multiplayer kind of, we're going to be multiplayer online, go with your friends, kind of people feeling Borderlands, Destiny type style of game, of co-op gameplay. But that's not what it is. It's more of the host, and you have your guests, and your guests basically take on the NPCs, and then they use their own characters as the NPCs, and they could lose them. And what they take out of there is the money and resources, but there's no co-op base building. There's no contributions to the base. You basically get stuff that you could go buy stuff for your own base in your own game, but there's no like, hey, let's build this tower over here, kind of like a Minecraft style like co-op base building, which would have been really cool. Kind of like, hey, all four of us are going to live and try to survive together, see how we can do. That's not really it. It's kind of like, hey, let's do missions, and I'll follow you, and I'll just kill some guys. It's really kind of empty for the co-op, for the guest player, I feel. And I think that's going to kind of hurt the game, to having that longevity and cohesiveness. I think if the single player really wants to, if the player really likes the State of K1 and is really into State of K2, they'll stick around with it. But I think the co-op person, the people are kind of just checking it out as a zombie shooter and want to just play with friends, I think it's just gonna. And for looking at the animations, and the gunplay is definitely improved from what I played a little bit at PAX, and also the car physics. I think the gameplay is there, but it's not as solid as, like, I would say how Destiny has that solid shooting, that gameplay from Halo, of course, but that keeps you kind of keep going for the grind. Like, I don't know if this game has that kind of combat that really would just make you want to just shoot around for the hell of it without any progression. And that was the issue with that, is that you're not progressing. You're doing random missions, and you're doing the missions that the host wants you to do. You can't have any influence on there. You don't vote on a mission, Sea of Thieves style, like, hey, we're all going to do this mission. It's kind of the host is that you're just basically an NPC following the host around, and you got to stay with the host. You can't just go get a car and go off and collect resources. Like, hey, I have found this new place down the street or on the other side of the map. I'm going to go over there and grab this stuff, and I'll bring it back to the base. And it's not like that. And I think people are going to be a little upset like that. I think it's going to get your first 1-2 weeks, but I think the longevity factor is definitely going to be affected by the co-op limitations right now, because it's still, from listening to the developers and following it for this month, I'm still excited for it, but I don't think it's going to be. I wish there was co-op progression. The worst things I hate in co-op games is that I jump into a game with my friend, and then I do all his stuff. He, like, gets halfway through and does all this stuff, and then I say, "Oh, my friend's not on. Let me start up my game." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, tutorial. All right, go to this house first. This is how you collect loot aqua bags. This is how you bring back satchels. This is how you do that. And you kind of going through all this again. You're like, are you kidding me? I just did 5 hours with my friend. And, you know, I have to go through all these things again. Oh, I did this mission already. I did this one already. Yeah, I'm just getting the chat up. Sorry. Hey, what's up, man? And, you know, and that's kind of where I think it's going to lose a lot of its flair is with the, is with that co-op, because it was definitely billed as basically a co-op shooter, a co-op multiplayer, a survival game. And shout out to everybody, your frogs, Meds, J, Daniel B, and Sick Humor. Yeah, Sick Humor. I showed some stuff to him yesterday with some videos, because I had, when I saw, and just to go on just on a little tangent of Sea of Thieves, man, I watched that latest video of the update to Sea of Thieves, and that guy just seemed like he was so upset and just not enthusiastic with the latest update. And I just read the update notes that they were talking about last week. Basically the handing off bananas to people, it broke the game. Like, they had to take that out. I don't know if they know what the hell they're doing over there. And you know, just as a Sea of Thieves rant, like, that thing just triggers me so much, because I cannot believe the state of decay that game was released in, because that game is a sad, sad story. And I can't believe that's what Rare turned into. When My Avatars Conquer, they got all these legendary IPs that they could have used and could have expanded on. Rare could have probably pumped out 4 games for the amount of time that they took to make that, just with their iconic IPs alone. Little $20 games just to keep the IPs alive and keep them relevant for this new generation. They should have used Rare in that sense, instead of making this bogus piece of crap. And I know people like it and playing it. Steve, oh, the 30 hours in, I don't have any time to play God of War or anything else. State of Decay, I don't care about it. To see, you know what? Go back in time and be a friggin' pirate, okay? Because that game is a friggin' joke. And if you want to promote that kind of game, that is not a game as a service. That is a game as apology. Those updates are an apology. And what's even worse is that they can't even do that effectively, because those updates are so, they're like, oh, we removed the gamer tag underwater so you could sneak up on boats. It's like, you were in a beta for a year and a half. Hello, like, what the hell were you guys beta testing? Handing a banana, sharing resources with somebody, handing them a banana has broken that. That was a feature that they were saying they were adding this week. Well, it broke the game and they took it back. Like, they're even announcing stuff and taking it back. That game is a disaster. And that, I'm telling you right now, that game will get maybe a little bit of time on E3, but by the end of this year, that Microsoft is going to pull the rug from underneath that game. Maybe they'll give it a year. They're going to pull the rug. Remember Project Spark? Remember how ambitious that was? Fable Legends was in friggin' beta. They shut down the studio. Microsoft's not afraid of trimming their fat. If things not working and it's not bringing in money and it's not the service that they wanted, they're going to pull support for it. They're going to pull it. You're not going to see these big things. Even when the guy was talking about that video, just like, oh, and down the line in a year, we want to do this. I'm like, you can't even get out a friggin' update to hand a banana to somebody. Meanwhile, they implemented the feature where you could show a map to somebody, but meanwhile, you can't hand the resourcing to somebody. You can't give somebody a cannonball. You could show them your map, but you can't give them that game is garbage. I'm done with it. I'm done. You know, that game is just a running meme and a joke. And, you know, if you like it, you like it. But that game is garbage. And it's a disgrace that came from Rare and that came from Microsoft as a first party. And now State of Decay 2 could be their saving grace. But again, this game is not meant to be the pedestal game that they are trying to market it as. And people want to believe this is. This is a sequel to an arcade game that was janky, that had some cool concepts of base building, and now they expanded upon that. They added 3-guy NPC multiplayer control people. It's still not the co-op experience so far. I haven't played it, but from what I read and the mechanisms, again, the same complaints I had about State of the Sea of Thieves. The things that I complained about were things that I knew were the basis of the game. The combat, the exploration and quest. I knew those things they needed to go and build from the ground up in order to fix those things. So if those things were not effectively there, like this co-op stuff, this kind of NPC, the host is there, they're not going to fix the game to make it a Left 4 Dead type game or a Destiny type game. And I don't want to use the word Destiny because that even gets its own thing. But like basically like a Borderlands type game, it's not changing to that. So don't say, oh, they could update it later where they can make you do co-op base building and stuff like that. God, if they didn't think of it at first, then I that stuff's not coming. Okay, that stuff's probably not coming anytime soon, and that's if the game is still supported. And unfortunately, with a lot of Microsoft games, we have to say, are they going to continue with it? Are they going to support it, or is Phil going to change his tone again? And are they going to change their mind? And just to wrap up my State of the K2, and I went on that little Sea of Thieves rant because that thing just is disgraceful. And I just saw that tweet today where the banana broke the game, sharing bananas. I think the game looks better than the first one. The animations are still not there. And I know back when I was saying, oh, it's a $30 game, not a full $60 budget game, a full $60 title. But, at those things, I said basically that, yeah, I know. I want to talk about that with E3 Sikima about the like they got to change their stance because right now they think that again Microsoft's focused on that Minecraft model and they think that if they can release a game and have the consumer tell you what they want, that's what they're going to do. And that's kind of what they did with State of Decay, with Sea of Thieves. And State of Decay, I think, has a vision. I think State of Decay has a backbone elite because it's a sequel to a game. And the problem that I have is that people are couch developers. Everybody's not going to be consistent unless something's universally broken on what they want. So you really can't listen and just use, oh, I want sharing this. I want this. I want this. I want this. And try to be as a developer to kind of make the game what the people. You have to have a vision. You have to know your customer. You have to know what's trending, what's working on stuff. And you have to build your game and say, this is what you're going to do. Like, you cannot just put a game out there and just go, you guys tell us what we should do with it. That's nice, but there should be a segment of the game that is a focus on. Like, you should just have a segment of the game saying, this is the part we're going to use for customer feedback and adjust. But this is our vision. This is our core game. And, just to, again, I'm going to rant again about Sea of Thieves because the latest update they just did is basically now doing open and closed crews. And now they're going to add private crews, which basically breaks the whole vision of what the game was. This kind of like, let's go in and share. But guess what, guys? The grieving. People were joining 3-person parties as the 4th person, a random, and they would not do stuff and just destroy their game. And know what else? They couldn't boot them from the game. They had to start a new one. And thirdly, I read people complaining about that the 4th person, the person that was a random, basically would not leave the game. And when they killed him or when he died, the person just stayed on the ship, on the ghost ship in death, just to troll, just to basically lock them out of doing inviting any of their other friends into the game. It was hard. Like, the people they said that the guy was actually put in a sleep animation on the ferry boat, the death ferry boat, after he died, just to troll them and not have them. And then they said, oh, he'll get disconnected. But apparently this person was moving their controller to keep themselves in the game so that they could not, so he could troll their group. Like, it was that's why I read these stories. And it's like grieving. I was saying it when this game was coming out. You cannot, and now they're realizing this, and people are complaining because the only people left are probably the hardcore people that just want to play with themselves, play with their friends, play with their pirate friends, and get rid of everybody else. So now they're adding private stuff, which basically says you could get on a boat with 4 people and not be bothered. And that's what the hell? That meanwhile, that was their whole talk. It sounds a lot familiar, like, oh, we built this Xbox One for Connect. Connect has to work with this machine. There's no separation. Connect is part of the Xbox. You cannot take Connect out. Phil gets hired and takes Connect out. This is the 180 of this company. They are their games are 180. There are like they just completely they tell you this is what they want, and then when they switch it around, and now they're in private and closed groups to stop grieving, and private parties, and people are complaining, and some people are like thank you, but it's just, what was your vision? You should have known grieving was going to happen, and you should have put things in effect that stop grieving, like sort of not making an enemy damage you after a certain amount of time. Give yourself a buffer, like a safe zone. There are game mechanisms that could be introduced where you could have your vision, but you have to think it out. And obviously, to finish my rant on Sea of Thieves, they didn't think it out. They didn't think it out. They basically said, look at our water, look at our sun, get on a boat. Let's put it out there in Game Pass. Because that game and Game Pass is probably the only thing that's keeping that thing as active users. And I like to know, like, you know, the sales of that thing, basically it dropped off the charts. It was, and again, it was sold number 2 because people pre-ordered it. There was hype behind the game, thinking there's a first game from Rare. There's a lot of Rare fans that like the style, things like that. There's a lot of factors in there, but that game was, you know, the dupe. Like, they duped everybody, and you know, and I think people might be more critical of Microsoft moving forward, you know, and I think that's what's going to happen. They're not critical enough now, but they're going to be more critical, and you know, it's just unfortunate that they did that to Rare. Like, even Michael Pachter was saying things that how Rare is not what they were. Yeah, and that's you know, Six says, you know, that's what happens when you build a game with no direction, no clear direction. People get bored and find dumb shit to do. Exactly. And you know what's funny, Sick, is that I heard in a lot of these kind of videos about State of K2, people like that just create your fun. Like, it's not really about them, it's about the experience. And I don't understand this whole, like, get with your friend. You're gonna have a certain group of friends, like Minecraft friends, that really want to role play and get into it to kind of just mess around. Like, there's so many other things you can mess around with. Like, yeah, you can mess around in Uno. You know, Uno could be fun. Hell, Kid Smooth stream Monopoly, and you think Monopoly is going to be fun, but those guys looked like they had a blast. I almost bought the game. I was like, yeah, this looks like fun. But I realized it was just the personalities that were playing Monopoly and how it was going. The game is a game of Monopoly, but like, this whole state, like, it's really not about the story. It's not. It's just how you're gonna survive. And look at the lines under Microsoft's game. Be more pirate. How will you survive? Like, all these kind of, like, you guys figure it out. We're just gonna give you this world, and I think it goes along also with Phil said or Dice earlier this year, where he's like, we build these worlds, and you're just gonna, like, do stuff in them. Like, these lack of direction games is for a specific niche type of person, and nonetheless, not just a one person, but actually a group of friends. You know, if I brought out a bunch of Legos and I was like, hey guys, let's play Legos, and they got baseball mitts and balls, and you know, let's go play baseball, let's play hockey or something like that. And I'm like, no guys, let's do Legos. Let's make a town. They're gonna be like, get the hell out of here. Let's go play some baseball. Let's go. Put these Legos away. And Microsoft's basically doing that. They're handing you a box of Legos, and they're like, yeah. And what the game is basically a map of showing, hey, these are the things that you can build with the Legos if you have time and you want to. But you know what? Here are your Legos. Go have fun. And it's like, what the hell kind of game design is that? That's not, you can't. Exactly. Six says, like, you know, to cop out regardless. Like, who wants empty world with nothing in repetitive missions? Exactly. This whole, yeah, I know. A Black Metal Gamer says that, you know, it's like Microsoft lost the attitude, extreme bro edge, and is trying to be Nintendo all lovey-dovey. But you want to know what, man? Like, it's not even that these games, they're trying to add charm to these games, but the thing is that they're not unlike Nintendo has core gameplay that's fun and entertaining, and Microsoft is just lacking on the gameplay that kind of warrants you to want to stay in that world. Like, look at Sea of Thieves. That game, the missions were not varied. It really didn't make you go into tunnels and go treasure dive. Like, it was really lack of everything that it is to be a pirate. And it was just like the goofy stuff was funny, like drinking on a boat, but how often are you going to do that? That's funny, but the missions, the gameplay, the combat, all that stuff was not effective. Like the combat, the missions, that's core gameplay right there. I don't care what the hell the water looks like. But the combat and the missions and the variations of the boats and customizations of the boats and what you can add. No like arrows and bows, no bow and arrow weapons. It's just swords and just cutlass and stuff like that. And it's just I don't I just am like, what are they doing? They're just kind of, hey, just run around and heal like a chicken without a head, and you'll have fun. And again, they're giving you a box of Legos, and that's what it is. And it seems like State of K2 is along the same lines. Like, as a guest character, you're basically gonna be like, oh well, yeah, I'm just messing around shooting, blah 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 blah. Like, that's fun. Like, yeah, just mess around because I just want to be with my friends, and it's fun with friends, fun with friends. And it's like, why, if it's fun with friends, if you're sharing the same experience, if you're all leveling up together, you're all moving up together, and instead the host is getting all the stuff and moving and building his base. Thanks a lot, guys. And then you leave, and you don't even share supplies in the game. They got their loot, you got your loot, and that's it. Yeah, what did Black Metal say? You said something about how the problem I just want to be a multiplayer hype platform. Yeah, and Fortnite was their software, and you have to pay for life for Fortnite, and the PSN you don't. How well, exactly? Yeah, Bloodwake. Oh my God, please! I love Bloodwake. Bloodwake was I remember when I went to my first PAX in the 2010, the first PAX East, and they had Hydro Thunder there. I was playing Hydro Thunder, and it was an arcade game, and I was like, this would be so cool if you made Bloodwake with it. And they grabbed one of the guys that worked on Bloodwake, and he said, Bloodwake? I'm like, yeah, that game was like awesome. Like, that was like, that had the water physics, and it was just a Twisted Metal type game with boats, with like water physics. And that was on the original Xbox. And that was and the guy worked on it. And whenever I see wave physics, I just think, man, Bloodwake would be so cool. Like, if you could just have Bloodwake and you could add subs and like, that was an original Xbox game, Bloodwake, and that Black Metal there. That was awesome. Yeah, Bloodwake was. I love Bloodwake. I wish it didn't have online then. I don't think it even had online. That was one of the early ones. It was back with Fusion Frenzy and stuff like that. But like, it just, it's just, we're going to make these worlds and people are going to play in these worlds. And that seems sort of Microsoft's thing, where Sony's focusing on single player narrative type games and, with story and narrative and graphical detail and engrossing you with animations and voice acting and stuff like that. And if you listen to the voice acting, I heard that was another complaint with State of K2. It is just like, I better stay away from those guys. Like, those zombies are creepers. I better stay away from those guys. Like, it was like horrible voice acting. And people are like, oh, why are you playing for the voice acting? Guys, it's all about immersion. When you sit back and realize, hey, all I'm really doing here is holding the right trigger and shooting, zombies. When you realize what you're really doing, that's not good, because then you get out of the immersion and you realize that this is just a waste of time. It's all about the immersion and the storytelling and the partnerships, the collaboration. Like, that 7 Days to Die had co-op base building. Like, you're in online and stuff like that. Minecraft had it. Like, how can they not have co-op base building if this game was built for 4 or 5 years? State of K2, like, how can you not have that? How can it be locked? And because they're worried about grieving, which is amazing, is that they're worried about people coming into your game, some random, taking all your supplies and checking out of the game. Or they're worried about somebody coming over and deleting your medical facility in your game and then leaving. And they're worried about grieving. So that's why they kept it more about a single player experience. And basically they made it more of a single player experience with just kind of co-op NPC user controlled players. That's basically what it is. Whereas Sea of Thieves, where grieving was a concern, they didn't care. They said, "Oh, there's not going to be any safe zones, and we're not doing. You just there could be somebody just waiting right by where you check in your thing and just shoot you." And now they're seeing the complaints come in. People don't want that, and they've been trying to fix the grieving ever since the game launched. Hell, the first weekend they were trying to stop. They were trying to implement the death toll, and people were freaking out, going, "Well, I got a guy on my boat that just keeps killing me. He's going to take all my money." They go, "Okay, you're right. Oh, no. We're not going to put that feature in." And it's like, okay. And then they stopped it. Just like they were going to add pets. And that was going to be the first DLC coming out in 3 months. They got the complaints about the lack of content. So now they're focusing on content. And they said in their first update, I think a week later after the game launched, oh, we're putting that on the back burner, those pets and all that other stuff. So this is just, yeah, like, and then you look, and that was another great game. Like, exactly, compared to and people think it's State of K2 and compared to basically those what is it, the not the Dead Island games, like those were basically like a Borderlands type game where you're sharing it together doing co-op missions, and that structure is fun. Like, that structure is cool. And I know, and again, guys, I'm going to tell you this other thing that we just said, how Microsoft is basically being like this, oh, here's a box of Legos and do this. The other thing that they're being too, that's one caveat, that they're trying to just build these worlds and thinking people are just going to run around with their friends in them and not bother Microsoft and think that's the games. The second one, and Dying Light, that was the game I was speaking about, like the structure of Dying Light co-op and stuff like that. But the second one is Microsoft's being accessible. They want accessibility. They don't want to discourage players. They don't want somebody to come in, and I heard them say it in State of the K2. They don't want somebody to come in and be like, well, you're a level 50 with this huge base, and I'm only a level 2, so I'm not going to have as much fun as you, and I feel discouraged. I'm not going to play this game anymore. And they don't want that. And State of K2 people said, like, they want everybody just on equal playing ground. You could jump in and jump out when you want, which it's cool, but it's not cool for the people that really want to play the game. The hardcore people, the day one purchasers of this game, they want to get involved in this game. They want to level. They want to progress. They want to move. Sea of Thieves had the same problem. All you had is cosmetics, because they wanted the game to be accessible. They want Joe Schmo to come walking in August and go and turn on State of K2 or turning on Sea of Thieves and being like, yeah, like I'm as equal as everybody else has been playing for the last 6 months. If people still playing for the last 6 months, but like, that's what they want to do. And and I don't want this thing to turn into a whole thing, but this is kind of leading into where we're going and what Microsoft's games and caveats and I think is going to lead into a lot of what E3 for them is going to be. And I'm looking at the three of them, and I know that they said Square Enix is going to have a show, and Bethesda has their show. But just talking about the three of them, going on about the E3 stuff, is that Microsoft again has been real quiet. I think this is the first year that Phil really hasn't come out and said, I'm happy with this year's lineup. I know for the last 2 years, like 2 years ago, the best lineup in gaming and best lineup Microsoft, the E3. And then last year, he said he was happy with the lineup, coding the games that came out this year, State of Decay and Sea of Thieves. So obviously that got all delayed. But in January of last year, he's like, I'm really happy with our lineup. And he's been talking about E3 since January of last year. This year, he really didn't talk too much about E3. He just said it's the biggest E3, and he just says games will take time. And biggest E3 for them, I think, just means that they're in a bigger theater. I don't think that this means big in that they're going to be bringing big games. Yeah, and maybe he learned to quiet and shut up and surprise during a show, but you know what? Microsoft's not like that, because they're talking about, see, the thing is that if they were overall quiet, I would say, yeah, they're saving everything for E3. But they don't seem to shut up, and they keep talking about the wrong stuff. Like sharing controllers over Mixer. Like, oh, now you have presence in Discord. Like, they just seem to be talking about boring shit. Like, shit that doesn't have to do anything with games. Like, it's like who cares? Like, oh, here comes our UI update. Now you could put things in folders. It's like, okay, looking for group. Yeah, that thing is dead. Like I only used that once with when Friday the 13th had a broken party system, and the system was broke. Like how about getting rid of that friggin' mixer tab? How about getting rid of that media tab? We don't need that stuff. How about fixing the store? You know, I know I got into it with Addict when we were talking about the store, but the Microsoft Xbox store is garbage. And what's even worse than garbage is the Windows store. There is no, like, and you say, what's a shopping cart? Do you know? I'm going to tell you what a shopping cart does. And now I'm on another rant. This is what happens with this show. I don't care. I just rant about whatever goes in my head. Let me tell you something about a shopping cart. You want to know what a shopping cart does? I put things in the shopping cart on the PlayStation, on Amazon. You put things in the shopping cart. And know what happens is that Amazon and Sony email you and going, hey, you got things in your shopping cart. Hey, the price changed with your item in the shopping cart. Hey, do you still want to buy this stuff? Hey, you want to use a 20% discount on everything in your shopping cart? Oh, wow. All those games that were already discounted, I could add a 20% discount to them. When the hell is Microsoft giving you a 20% off coupon? You can't do that with Microsoft. You only could buy things one at a time. Hell, you don't even know what the hell is in your Microsoft wallet. I got $11 in there from rewards points that are going to expire. I didn't even know I had them because I had to actually click on a game and buy a game digitally to figure out what the hell I have in my store when it gave me purchasing options. That's how trash that thing is. You don't even know the credit that you have unless you click on buy something. And then it says, hey, you got these credits. Do you want to use them? And you can only use them at one time. You can only buy one game at a time. Sony was dropping last month 20% off coupons of everything in the store. I was stacking it with the PlayStation deals that they were doing. Just buying games just because I had a 20% off coupon. And the things are in my shopping cart and it tells you the time of the sale and how long the sale is going to end. Microsoft has nothing like that in their store. They just implemented the little color for the stupid like discount. And their deals have been horrible. Their sale, like I think PlayStation has a lot more type sales like a Steam sale. And they have theme sales too, like publisher sales. Like this one, they got Pub Party this week. And it's like a bunch of like $30 kind of old, like not $30, like 30 games that are older games, like what is it? The Destroy All Humans 1 and 2 for like $3 and stuff like that. I look at Microsoft Games of Gold, it's just random stuff. And the thing is that they have so many. There's no sorting features. You can't sort by price. You can't sort by arcade style games. PlayStation has, you could sort by games, you could sort by bundles. The thing is, and then yes, you're right, Blackmail. They got flash sales on Fridays. I just can't stop buying games. You know what that does? That gets me more in their ecosystem, right? Microsoft engagement ecosystem. Those things that you still want to do. All those things. By having an effective store and shopping techniques that people, methodologies that people use all over the place. Every friggin' online store has a shopping cart. Add this to cart. It also triggers you to know what people are interested in because what's in their shopping cart. It's engagement. You don't have one. So don't say, oh, it's fine. Who the hell needs a shopping cart? That's stupid. It all leads into purchasing and being part of the ecosystem. That's what it does. Microsoft wants you to have 300 digital games. Well, 300 digital games, you got to buy one at a time. One at a time. Like, come on. And the Windows Store, don't even get me started on that thing. That thing is horrible. I say free game Lucky Sevens next to $60 Gears of War 4. What the hell? It makes no sense. And what's even shady about the Microsoft Store is that you could buy games on there that don't play on the PC and actually play on Xbox. Like, you got to look at the little details to see where that game is playable. I was like, oh wow, these games came out for Xbox. And I'm like, these games are on PC. I click on them. It's like, oh no, this like you look and it just says Xbox. It's so confusing because Microsoft doesn't know what the hell. And I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it's Terry Myerson. It's the Windows division. I don't give a shit who it is. It's broken. I don't care who it is. I don't care. I'm not flying to Redmond and giving like, I don't care. It just compared to competition. If they want to compete against Amazon, against Apple, and all those other guys, Apple has an app store, okay? That's a mobile store for a phone and an iPad. You have a gaming device. Look at what other retailers are doing. Everybody has those mechanisms. Everybody has discount, coupons, engagement, get us in the store, buy stuff. Don't say you don't care what people play, because guess what, guys? When you told me you don't care what people play, I bought a computer. I bought stuff from Steam. I bought a PlayStation. I'm buying, guess what? I'm buying all that stuff. I'm not buying from you. Now, I think that hurts your engagement numbers because you have chased me away. You have shown me, led me to the other side, and they do it better. Better than you. And that's what the hell's going on. I don't know what's going on my stream. There we go. I don't know. It looks like it was lagging. But you showed me the other side, and the grass is greener. And yeah, there's problems with the other ones, the PC deal, and PlayStation with the whole, sometimes it crashes, the stall reloads, and all. There's all knickknacks and stuff like that. But overall, the experience and shopping and buying stuff is light years better than yours. And I want to thank you for telling me you don't care where I play, because guess what? I'm not playing on yours. And I don't know if that's kind of the message you want to send when you tell people you don't care where they play. Because I think you're kind of putting the cart before the horse, because I think you got to fix your own shit and be desirable. Like I always mention, you got to be desirable with your content, with your services, and with how the structure of your game and the structure of your store to warrant people to desire you to be part of their ecosystems. Nobody's going to want your trash on their system. See, that's the thing. Nobody's going to want Sea of Thieves on their system. Nobody desires that. But hell, if Sony shopped around God of War, God of War's coming on my thing. Nobody wants your trash. So you got to get your shit together before you start talking about other people's shit, because nobody's going to want to put that crap on there. Another thing that I find is a failed area is the stupid EA games, the EA access. Talk about something that was so hyped and such a benefit to you. And that game is, what happened to the EA access? What happened to that? They just added NHL. I went on to their Twitter to find out what the hell happened. They just added NHL in April. That was the last tweet, was April 12th, a month ago. And before that, they added NBA Live when it was on sale for like $2. That's why I bought it. They added that. Like, EA access, this huge exclusive thing that you have, and you failed to use that thing too. They don't like it's just it's horrible. It is their state of what the hell their mentality is. I don't know if it's Nadella. I don't know who it is. I don't care who it is. I just know what it is, and it is not good. So they could walk into E3 and what? And actually, we'll find out that the Walmart release thing is kind of what Rage 2 being announced. So for my Xbox, they had Gears of War 5, which I don't think it's Gears of War 5. It's probably that Gears of War expansion, which they think it's a SOCOM game, which hell no. Who the hell wants that? We already got SOCOM. Not SOCOM. I mean, XCOM. This is XCOM kind of Gears of War style game. I don't know, but I could definitely see Microsoft doing something like that, because guess what? That will work on mouse and keyboard. They could add mouse and keyboard to Xbox. You got to think that way, guys. If you are an Xbox fan, you got to think like that. You got to think what works on both of them. What is a good game for cross-play and cross-buy and introducing features? Because guess what, guys? And I've stated this so many times before, it's not about the games anymore for them. It's not about the games. It is about the implementation of features and services that they want to get you involved in their ecosystem for engagement numbers. That is what it is. I should make a shirt of it, because that's what it's about. The games. What's up, Coon? 1985. The Coon. It's not about the games anymore. The games are the mechanism to get you into the services. That is them. That is what's going on. It's the games. It's the games that are not important anymore, but it's a way. Just like Crackdown. Crackdown is a delivery method for the cloud. Crackdown is a delivery method for the cloud. Sea of Thieves was a delivery method for a service-based game and a Game Pass title. State of Decay really doesn't have any legs. It's really just a kind of zombie kind of sequel to that thing. But every one of their games was a way to deliver a service. So I would see, oh yeah, a Gears 5 or a Gears spinoff could be a kind of strategy-based game. Because that's why Halo Wars existed. It will work on crossplay, and it will actually probably be good to introduce keyboard and mouse support that they've been promising for 2 years, which I don't care. I don't want it. Yeah, where's Crackdown? Oh, trust me. And then what? There was some random tweet about Crackdown or some guy on Reset Era going, I seen it. Phil put all his money behind it. They fixed it. They're going to, you know what? Crackdown is not, Crackdown, first off, never was. Crackdown 2 sucked. I played it when it first came out. Crackdown 2 was horrible with the night mode with the zombies and all that other crap. Crackdown 2 was bad. Crackdown 1 was decent, but it came with the Halo 3 beta, and Crackdown 1 was all right. But, like, Crackdown 2 was horrible. Like, the multiplayer was horrible. The game, the story was horrible because it was all like this, like, zombies come out at night. It was horrible. It was dumb. And now Crackdown 3. You know what? That game, even if it has a destruction, trust me, it's not going to be what people think. I think I heard people going like, oh, it's going to be like GTA 5 with destruction. No. Guys, if it's going to have that level of destruction, it is going to be a smaller area. Think about an arena shooter with destructible environments. It is going to be an arena style. It is not going to be an open world driving cars and buildings coming down. No. Because even from what they shown, and that was the promise when they pulled back, it was a few blocks. It was like a block or two. Okay, so these are going to be arenas, little sections of the city that probably have no pedestrians, that have no cars, no vehicles. It's just going to be jumping around with buildings coming down. And I'm sure it'll be fun for a little bit. But once people just like, mess around it, I don't think that it's going to be this kind of open world massive destruction. It's called Wrecking Crew. Okay, even that kind of makes you think like, oh yeah, it's going to be a smaller scale, and it is. There's going to be limitations to it, and you know what? I always for some reason Microsoft's hands, the company hands on Xbox games has ruined it. Like I said, they are delivery mechanisms. It's not about the game, the story, the graphics, the crackdown. It's not about that anymore. It's about proving the cloud can work and using it as a tool to kind of get third party and use the tools. That's what it is. They are not trying to focus. They're not focusing on the consumer. Even the electronics. Look at what they just announced today. Surface Hub 2. That thing's like $50,000 and it's for meeting rooms. They are not focused on the consumer environment. I just listened to Tom Warren, who was at the Microsoft Developer Conference, and it wasn't DICE, it was the Build, right? And do you remember 2 years ago, Build, they were dropping some gaming news, and I think that's what he even showed a Crackdown demo. But Tom Warren was there. He was like, this is the most boringest build that I have seen in the last 15 years. And then went to Google's and said they have shown more interesting stuff in the first 20 minutes than Microsoft did in 6 hours. And it's because, and then people commenting, it's because Google was showing consumer devices, things that you could use and how to integrate the consumer device and voice and all that other stuff. When Microsoft's talking about Cortana and holograms going to set up meetings. Meanwhile, HoloLens was shown on stage at E3 stage. Tell me, and this is where I know it's bullshit. Tell me you don't want to show stuff on stage too far in the future, but those bitches brought out fucking HoloLens with Minecraft. Are you kidding me? But you won't tell me what's coming out this holiday. Or tell me anything leading up to E3 or what I can expect. But you brought out HoloLens. Are you kidding me? And of the 44 games that you shown last year, I don't know if all of them came out. I don't think so. Hell, I know that Minecraft 4K update that was supposed to come out got delayed near the launch of the X. That's right. He's making like that. He is a mob boss. The Conker's a badass. But you come out there and basically this guy's like, And he's like, oh, yeah, here's the Minecraft 4K update. Oh, it's got delayed. That's still not out yet. It's still not out yet. What the hell, man? Like, that is still not there. And not that I want to play Minecraft 4K, but like, I don't understand this whole like, oh, we're gonna keep stuff close to the chest and not announce it. It's just the thing is that it's so contradictory. It is just total bull, and the competition is not waiting. And speaking about the competition, Sony coming out just chilling. He probably had like the little glass like my Conker guy had, and sitting there on the PlayStation podcast, the blogcast, and going, "Yeah, we're gonna do something. We call it a showcase." And notice they don't call it a press conference; they're calling it a showcase. This is our showcase, and he's like, "Yeah, you're gonna see these 4 games." Yeah, why they get because they're gonna ask their parents for 4K TVs and they want the X, right? It's just that don't get me started the X thing. But like, yeah, and he's sitting there and he was like, yeah, we're gonna show Last of Us 2. We'll show Spider-Man. We're gonna show Ghost of Tsushima, and we're gonna show what is it? The not Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and we're gonna show the not Days Gone, they did the other one. What is the other one? The I forget what the hell is it. And now I'm drawing a blank. He said Ghost of Tsushima, the Ghost of Tsushima, the Spider-Man, and the Hideo Kojima game. Yeah, Death Stranding. Those 4 games are going to be the pillars of their show. So that's what they're going to talk about. And then the guy's like, oh, well, that's not everything. Yeah, we'll show like, indies, and some third party will be there as well. And so those 4 games, Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima, 3 of them we haven't seen gameplay for. So they'll show gameplay. But think about it. If Dreams, they said Dreams at PSX was supposed to come out in the spring. I'll look forward to Dreams. I've like started following them. I can't. That game's going to be really cool. But like, and maybe, and I think, and I'm not going to get the predictions and stuff, but I think that whole Devil May Cry 5 being exclusive, I know that was something that was teased end of last year. They thought they were going to announce it at the Gaming Awards show. If they announce that, but just those 4 games alone, Sony just, people didn't, and now people didn't say this, and that's why I'm going to say this now. And I know I'm kind of going too long, but like, the thing is that Sony announced 4 things that Microsoft don't have. Console exclusive AAA games. They basically smacked Microsoft, I feel, with just coming out right now and going, we're showing the 4 games. That's not all, but just the fact that they're showing 4 games that can't be played anywhere else. They're AAA or maybe quadruple A if they're Microsoft standards. But like these games, if they show gameplay of Last of Us, that should be enough to probably take away E3. Oh my God, did you see that Last of Us play gameplay? Did you see that? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And Microsoft's going to be like, oh, and Splinter Cell was on our stage, but it's a multiplayer. Nobody wants Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell, that's great, Microsoft. Oh, but the Gears of War is a spinoff and going to be in Game Pass day 1. It's like, no, like, just look at this gameplay. And that's the thing. And know what, guys? If you look at God of War shows the systems that we have right now. We don't need next gen. It could be done if they give the developers the ability and the tools to do it. So imagine what Last of Us 2 is going to look like, all with Death Stranding. And those are only playable there. And they said, here are the 4 games that here. If Microsoft announced 2 of those type of games, I think that will be an improvement of what they're currently releasing. But if they do Death Stranding and show another trailer, that'll be some bull. But he said deep dives, though. Now, they're saying Gears might be a spinoff. Now, the Walmart thing said Gears 5, but now the spinoff might be they're saying it's like a XCOM type game. So it's not even like a third-person shooter. It's basically top-down strategy, moving squads. But, going back to Sony's thing, if Death Stranding they show another trailer like they did again, that'll be a disappointment. But if they show somebody controlling that game, and they're actually walking around, I think that'll be enough to blow the walls off the doors, the blow everybody out. But the thing is that those 4 games are strong enough on their own that I think by Sony saying these 4 games only playable on our console, that's going to be the pillar. I think that's kind of a touche. Microsoft now show us your big games. And Microsoft comes out and goes, Halo, Gears, and Forza. Halo, Gears, and like, okay, what's new? And these are, and think about it, guys. These are, it's a sequel to a franchise. It is a huge Marvel character, open world Spider-Man, like a superhero game. It is a new IP, open world samurai game. And it is wherever the hell Kojima wants to make that game. I think it's going to be like a third person, like Metal Gear Solid type game with crazy ass story and craziness. Those games like really are unique, and they're new IPs. Two of them are new IPs, and one is a known IP in its own game for a long time. Like, just think of those 4 games alone. They really encompass a lot of what the industry doesn't really have right now. And them coming out and saying these are they know that. That's why it's not a surprise. That's why it's not a surprise. And I think Microsoft is doing themselves an injustice by not saying anything. Like, how can you not show a Lancer or something saying stay tuned for E3? Like, that's gonna ruin it. Well, it makes me think you don't got it. You don't have it. See, that's what happens. You can't tease a Lancer in your invitations to E3. You didn't even talk about, I'll line up this year is gonna be really great. You want to know why? Because I think their E3, Microsoft's E3, is going to be all about the indie games and launching in Game Pass. It is going to be a Game Pass fiesta. That's what it's going to be, because their job at E3, and I'll probably say this again as we go to predictions and all this other stuff on other shows, but their job at E3 is to make Game Pass subscribers stay subscribed and get new subscribers. Game Pass is the Xbox now. It's not about the console. It's not about sales. I think a huge, excellent move would be for them just to come out and go, the X is now $399, and then come out with a 2 terabyte X at $500 and have a 1 terabyte X now at $400. That would be a huge move for them. And I would probably go get one then if they did that. But I don't know. Like, they seem that they don't care about the sales. Why would they be that competitive and just drop that X for $100? And that would also be a slap in the face to a lot of people. I'm sure people with damage control going, well, it's a year later. And no, it's not a year later. It came out in November. So if they drop it at E3, that would be a kind of slap in the face, especially since you really didn't have the benefits of a launch console, because you didn't have a friggin' launch lineup for the X. It's not like, oh, well, I got to play all the launch games with 4K. No, you got to play your old games enhanced. That's all they gave you from now until they drop the price. So trust me, if they drop the price, that will be a slap in the face to everybody who bought that thing day one. And another little rant I'm going to do is everybody going, well, I heard people saying that, oh, you knew what you were buying with the X. Again, bullshit. Nobody knew what they were buying. They were buying it assuming that Microsoft had games that demonstrated the power of the X, because all you heard was, I can't wait for a game to be made for the X. I can't wait for a game to be made for the X. And all you got was, hey, Fable Anniversary has enhancements. Like I said, it's like the late night shows with the penile enhancements. That's all I hear when I see enhancements. It's like, I just think of a guy with this friggin' penile enhancement lotion. Enhancements. Well, what are they? Oh, well, there's a couple of resolutions. We're targeting 4K, but it's not native 4K. It's dynamic, and you know, you know what? I didn't. If that's what they wanted to do, recycle old shit, then if you're gonna recycle it, then you make it better. You don't just put it through an emulator and go, oh yeah, now don't go buy it for $20 because the price just shot up on GameStop. Because now there's a demand for these old ass games because you decided to throw it through your emulator. Like, come on. Yeah, I know, but the Coon says that you know, if they drop the price this early, it shows failure. But you know what, man? Like, the thing is that they really need to be competitive. Like, that thing at $500 is not selling, and you can see they haven't won their NPDs. They haven't even won NPD when that thing launched, and people said, "Oh, it's because of $200 PlayStation." Well, what is Sony? Why did Microsoft not have, like, Sony's selling? Just go look at games. I just saw some tweets. Somebody tried to trade in their original Xbox, their Xbox One S 500 GB. It goes for $80 now. $160 for a slim PlayStation 4 500 GB. Double the that and what's GameStop? It's supply and demand. You know that. Just look at when something goes backwards compatible, how it shoots up. It's supply and demand. You're telling me that the PlayStation Slim is worth $160 trade in over an $80 Xbox One S. Guess what? They got the same things. They both got Slims and they got Pros. They got a Slim, they got an S and an X. So it's not like Microsoft is an extra generation. It just shows that they're not selling the S console to their customers, and there were people scoffing up those PlayStation 4 Slims used or refurbished. It's almost double and meanwhile you go to retail and it's $299 for a Slim and it's $299 for a PlayStation, like an S and a Play. They're the same price. And the thing is supply and demand. So if they gotta go $400 with the X, and at least maybe they'll be competitive. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing: if Sony comes out and says the Pro is now at $350, because Sony's really been pushing that Pro, and you want to know what? I think they might come out and price drop that Pro. And the reason why I say that is that I saw an email go around that they're doing that, and another thing, the tour of their PlayStation bus tour they're going around with, and they're gonna be in all different areas, music fests and all sorts of stuff in the Midwest, and they said, oh, bigger and better. We're demoing everything on Pros. So Sony's really just like making the Pro kind of their de facto console. And when I went to PAX, the Pro, even indie devs were using Pros. They weren't using Slims. I went through the indie mega booth over at PAX East this year, and all the PlayStation ones that they were showing PlayStation were on Pros. So if Sony comes out and drops the price before Microsoft drops the price of the X, I don't know where the hell Microsoft's going to go. And, going into the whole E3 marketing mindshare, that whole number thing where it was 29 million from E3 and Microsoft says no, and they don't say what it is. It could be lower. It could be higher. EA, again, was an estimate. And then, some random guy, the guy Z Huge on Reset Era is like, oh, discrediting EA. Like, EA's wrong. Like, you know what, man? Whatever it is, if it's 35 million or 29 million, I said it last week, it's still low as hell. And it still shows me reason why they have jumped ship and try to do this PC thing. They try to do this Game Pass thing because they are not successful in the console. And when they say they want to reach 2 billion gamers by 2020, you're not doing that at 29 million, 30 million, 35 million. I could see Sony making those claims when they're about to hit 100 million going, yeah, 2 billion gamers, we could do it. Microsoft is going they're going underground, basically. That's exactly what they're doing. They're going underground. They're like, yo, we can't stay up on the surface with these console sales. We're going underground, guys. And that's where they're going. They're going underground, and they're going to try to sneak their way and try to be a Trojan horse. Microsoft, the company who develops software, is trying to become a Trojan horse themselves. And what I was going back to us saying about how the games are the mechanisms to delivery of their services and features. They are using their games as tech demos or as demos to try to get third party on board, because then they could back off of their content. See, what Microsoft is doing, just like they're putting everything day one in Game Pass, the reason why they did that and how the Aaron Greenberg's showing engagement and showing Twitch streams and all this other stuff is because that's all data that they're collecting that they could show to third party, to Ubisoft, to EA, and going, look, Game Pass day one is successful. Here are our numbers. And that's what they're trying to do. They're using their own IP. Their own, same thing what they did with putting Gears of War and Forza, all those games day and date on PC. They're trying to show, look, here are our numbers. Look how it was. But guess what, guys? If you want to talk about numbers, think about that they put Gears of War 4 on PC. And it was so dismal that they had to throw them in with the Xbox brethren, because nobody was buying it on PC. They had Call of Duty last year launch in the Windows Store, but because the online community was so small, they deleted it. They removed it and refunded everybody. And again, it goes back to, you got to get your shit together before you start doing that stuff. Your store sucks. Like I mentioned early on in this podcast, like their store is trash. Their carts is horrible. Therefore, nobody's buying stuff in there. Therefore, you releasing games in there is not going to be beneficial for you to do that. But all you did now was dilute your IP. You basically put your IP on PC and let other people get it and keep their Steam games. You didn't give them a desire to buy your console. So you sold out your IP to try to entice third-party developers to use your tools, to use UWP. And you see how many are using it? Like 4, 3, with Shadow of War, Capcom, what are the games? And Cuphead, like, IP. That's the thing. They're trying to they're taking hits now. They're subsidizing. They're using their IPs and their things to deliver the proof of concept of the services. And what we're getting as gamers is mediocre trash content, because the game is not getting the love and appreciation and the grandeur that it should get. And that is what's going on with the issue with this whole thing. It's like the games are not where it is. They just put their IP out in Game Pass. And hold on a second. Something. But anyway, that's one of the things I want to come to. But it's really the focus of their company, and this E3 is going to be about delivering the services, and Sony is going to be again about the games, and Nintendo is going to be about the games. And if Nintendo announces Pokemon, Metroid, just showing gameplay of Smash Brothers, and Sony showing these games, the walk out of E3, if Microsoft does not have a handful of exclusive games, and again, exclusive is again in context. Like, if these games are day and date on PC, how can you even have an Xbox sign on that screen? You might as well just have a big Microsoft sign. It might be it should be just a Microsoft press conference, a Microsoft E3. It's not an Xbox E3 anymore. And that's my whole problem with all this stuff. We fight a fight of Xbox, but no, there's no more Xbox. There isn't. That's like fighting for like a portable DVD player. It's like, oh, the DVDs, the DVDs, the DVDs, and you're just fighting for a section of the DVDs. Oh, no, but the portable market, the portable DVD player. We're going to have a portable. That's what Xbox is. It's just a device. It's a type of device. It's a type of Windows 10 device. It's not what it is. It's not the Xbox, the gaming console. It is exactly. It is a way for them to get engagement numbers on the TV screen. That's what it is. The Xbox, like Phil said, it is our highest engagement gamer. It is a It is not a It is a device. It's not a console, a gaming console. It is a Windows 10 device that plays games on your TV. And to Microsoft, the Xbox division is TV engagement numbers. The people that sit back and use their TV as their main device of entertainment, the Xbox is that. It is not an exclusive delivery to deliver exclusive games and stories and things like that. It is a device to get their features on the TV. That's why they threw Cortana on there. That's why Kinect was on there. That's why all these things, Game Pass, it's all a way to get their services and devices on the people that use the TV. And like I said, the games are suffering from this. And that was my fear with this whole thing, going back to when I started even talking about this crap. The problem I have with them is that their mechanism is more about the services, and the games are the transport device. They are the transport device. They are not the focus. They are not. They don't care about telling that story. They care about, does the cloud work with that game? And I just want to answer one of the questions here. The Coon 1985 says, Jez, do you think Microsoft will show next Xbox games but advertise coming soon to keep people on the Xbox? I think this year, I don't think they're going to change. I think they're sticking to their status quo of announcing games that they know are coming out soon. So they're going to focus on this holiday. They're going to focus on Crackdown and probably for early spring. So if they do have a game like a Gears of War spinoff or a Halo beta or something like that. It'll be for the spring, but they always focus with the E3 year. So this E3 to next E3, which includes the holiday and the spring. And that's kind of their fiscal year as well. I don't think they're going to go beyond that. I think you might get a tease for next holiday. Maybe they'll talk about Halo 6. But I don't think they're going to commit to a brand new IP announcing coming out next year holiday. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to stick to the status quo. They're going to show Forza. They'll show Forza and Crackdown for this holiday. Maybe they'll throw their $40 game in, like their Lucky's Tales game. Maybe that might be the Gears of War spinoff that we're expecting. Maybe that's a $40 kind of XCOM Gears of War for the holiday for $40. So they could say Gears is coming this holiday, but it won't be a traditional Gears. You'll have that. You'll have your racer game, and then you'll have Crackdown. And then they might have a couple of games this holiday, maybe from third party if they paid them enough to launch into Game Pass. Like if they have Tomb Raider launching in Game Pass, I think that will be an experiment. And maybe with the new studio, maybe Square Enix wants to play that experiment. I don't know. But I wouldn't use that as a de facto going third party is coming to Game Pass, because we saw with Shadow of War. Shadow of War was the only game that kind of used the 4K textures different from a PlayStation. It was the only one that was really drastically different. But you could tell Microsoft probably paid an arm and a leg to force them to use every asset they could of the X. Have you seen anything like that since? No. All you've seen is just dynamic resolution differences. You haven't seen basic texture and this shadows and the physics are different. Oh, this one has 1,000 animations on the screen. The PlayStation only has 50,000. This one has 100,000. Like, you're not seeing drastic differences like that, where people thought you're going to see like, oh, look, there are 50,000 characters running around on screen on the Xbox, but it's reduced to 20 on the PlayStation because it can't run that. Or, oh, look at this. Look at all these physics. When you shoot something, all these things blow up, but on PlayStation, not as many things go flying around. You're not seeing drastic differences. You're seeing, oh, the Pro runs it at 1440p or 1080p, and oh, the Xbox is running this at dynamic 4K. It hits 4K sometimes. And just getting onto that, I'm going to tell you, like, I just saw a latest video of Sea of Thieves comparison, State of Decay 2, and State of Decay 2 on all three systems, the Xbox One S, and the Xbox One X. On the Xbox One, and I shared it on my Twitter, so you follow me at Twitter, Jez7780. I'll hit the like button, you guys, they like what I'm saying. But so the basic Xbox runs the game at 38 to 40 frames per second. The big VCR one, right? The second one, the S, is running it at 35, and it sometimes peaks at 40. What's up, Merc? How you doing, man? And then the X is running it at 30 frames per second with variation to 21, 29, and 31. Now, granted, they might get day one patches for optimization, but this YouTuber was comparing the three of them, and it said that the base VCR Xbox ran at faster frame rates than the X. And then people in the comments were like, whoa, the X is running it at 4K, and whatever type of 4K we're running it. We're running it dynamic, native, locked. We don't know yet. But apparently, but the game does look better. Thanks, Work. Work says hit that like button. But if you look at the visuals, definitely it looks better, detail-wise on the X over the base the Xboxes, but the frame rate is compromised. So hopefully they fix that out. But I shared it on my Twitter account. But it just goes along the lines of that. I don't think they're going to break. And back to Kuhn's question, about them going to show coming soon to keep people on Xbox. I don't think they're opening up everything. I don't think they're going to show stuff too early. Like, I don't think they're going to talk about maybe tease. I see. I can't see them breaking their mold, and especially Fable. Like, man, if they just say Fable coming soon, you know how many jokes are going to be like, oh, they'll probably cancel that one. Especially Fable was the one that got canceled. Like, I don't know if he wants to be a meme for E3. So I really think they're going to stick close to home. They'll talk about the holiday. They got Crackdown. They got, Killer Instinct Season 4. What the hell? Season 3. There was a sequel. They dropped that too. That got dropped. Man, they were adding characters and all that stuff to Killer Instinct. They're adding shadow play and campaign to it. Just stopped. No more. Like maybe they're working on Killer Instinct 2. That would be nice because they could use like an exclusive fighting game. That would be pretty cool. Another one at least. But yeah, like I don't think they're gonna break too much from their mold. I think they're gonna talk about. They'll talk about, yeah, see, I don't know. Like he says, Fable coming soon. I think that might be a me. I don't know if they'll feel comfortable doing that. And then that talking about that other thing that came up with the news, and we'll kind of at the random part at the end. But the random like about the news about the studio, the quadruple A that they're opening up. My thing is that I still think it's too early. Like I don't know if they have concept art or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they do, and they'll just tease it. But I just can't see them just talking about something so far out. But they might. But I don't know. My whole thing is I can't see them changing too much. I can't see them changing too much than what they did. Because remember last year, people were like, well, where are the games? And it's like, we announced 42 games. And it's like, you know what we're talking about. No, we had 44 games on stage, and it's like, but like, yeah, like they had a different message and they came in like, yo, we got games, and it was all about the power of the X last E3. This E3, they can't hide behind a hardware. They can't. So this E3, it's gonna have to be about the games because that's all they got. And Phil didn't sound too confident in his tweet. I don't know, man. I don't know if they feel that pressure, Mark. Like, I don't like. I think we feel the pressure. I think because we talk about it and follow it, but I don't see them changing. Like, they like, come on. We just got that tease for Rage and gameplay. Bethesda's not saying wait till our conference. Bethesda didn't come out and say wait till our conference. And maybe, we were basically confirmed like Fable open up the studio. Microsoft didn't even come out and confirm Fable. Yeah, guys working on Fable. More to come at E3. Nothing like that. Or like, hey, invites at E3. Oh, look, there's a Gears of War thing. Like, have fun with it. Have some marketing. Like, have some fun with it. Like, and then look at Sony. They're showing like Days Gone. That's not coming out to next year. That has a full in-depth coverage. I watched Game Informer's coverage of Days Gone. There was so much information in there from the devs and what they shared versus the State of Decay 2 stream of a game that comes out this week. And the GameSpot people had no friggin' clue about anything. I don't know if you could base build. I heard the co-op. I haven't tried multiplayer yet. It was a disaster. But meanwhile, they feel the pressure to get on the curve. That's what I did say about E3. I was saying about E3, their job is to keep people subscribed to Game Pass. So they're going to focus on probably this end of this year and early next year of content that's coming exclusively to Game Pass or day one in Game Pass to keep people subscribed. Start them in E3 and keep them subscribed through the holidays. This one they're going to hide behind Game Pass. They had the pins at PAX. They made friggin' pins for Game Pass. All right. They had pins. Game Pass trials. I got a stack of them. I can't use them anymore. I might give some out. The 14-day trials. Actually, look at this one. I'll give out a code right now. I'm doing give outs. A 14-day trial. I'll type it in the chat. I have one right here. Because I got so many of them. Make sure it's right. There's a 14-day trial. Play me with Sea of Thieves. State of Decay. Fuck Sea of Thieves. Game Pass is good. But again, it should not be a method of mediocrity. And I think, you know what? I compare Game Pass right now, and I'm typing this code in here. I'm not a very fast typer. Let's see. I think that's right. Oh. Let's type this in the chat. It is a 14-day trial of Game Pass. Like, I'm probably throw out some more next one. Let's make sure I got the numbers right. Yeah, the letters right. I'm sorry. RV, and here we go. And it's dropping in chat, and this should be, I'm just proofreading it. Yep, there's your 14-day trial of Game Pass. I got them. But they were handing them out like cotton candy over at PAX. And Game Pass, Well, I was trying to keep my hands on the mic. My ergonomic setup is that I'm talking to the left and I'm trying to type facing to the right. But yeah, I was just making sure I was getting those numbers in because I type those things in and then it's like doesn't work and stuff. But anyway, I don't know if that's right. Actually, I'm looking at it. That's right. Anyway, that finger pecking. I'm very careful when I type in those codes. I know. Yeah, I know, Mark. Yeah, that Game Pass you could do. And you know what? For a newcomer to Xbox, they make it real easy where you can just jump in, do your Game Pass, and you're set. It's great. Now, again, you got to sign up for Live if you want to play online with some of those games. And some of those games are exclusively online, like Sea of Thieves. So not only do you just sign up for Game Pass, but then you also got to sign up for Live. And make Live free to play. That's another thing. I think two big bombshells that I would be like, wow, Microsoft's really serious because all this other stuff is talk is if they drop the price of the X to $400, $399, and if they go Xbox Live is now for free, is free on Xbox consoles because it's free everywhere else. With the Switch now playing with Xbox Live, PC has had it forever, and you get all the achievements, all talking chat, and on Xbox you're basically paying for You're paying for games with gold. Like those would be two huge moves for them, and I can't see them doing the Xbox Live one, but they got to address that. Exactly, man. If they make Xbox Live for free and drop the price of the X to like even maybe 450, I would say 400 would be crazy. That those will be huge moves, and those will be moves that I'll say they care about this. They're in the gaming business, and not that they need to liquidate this stuff or like subsidize this stuff, but really they just need to do that to basically to kind of get a competitive edge. Get in there. You got to fight back. You can't you're trying to sell a product that is similar on all those things. Like you got to. I know if they really do that, it would probably piss off a lot of people. But I do think that $399 and X would be great. I think that's what they should do. But yeah, I don't know. They're very money conscious. Price Satya, they're very budget and they want to make sure they don't want to take the hits. But you got it. What do they say? You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. They gotta. You got to break around. Like Discord presence is not going to get you people. Like sharing a controller from Mixer.com. You got 35 million people out there. Why can't you share a controller across Xboxes? But you could share it across friggin' Mixer.com. Like, why isn't your console not the main focus? It's the most expensive device console. Like, it's the most powerful machine. Why is the X running 30 frames per second and you got the other things? What's up, Obi-Wan? Obi-Don. But like you got the X, the most powerful console, but you're demoing everything on PC. You're showing State of K2 on PC. Like you should be using the X as your main lead platform to demo this. Show Xbox controllers. All this stuff matters. Like where their marketing is so far up their ass, they're in the cloud. Like I have no clue. Where is there? This makes sense. Like how can you not? Why is the X not the primary console for all your demoing? Like demo everything on the X. Meanwhile, everything I see on State of K2 is PC. They're demoing on the PC. They demo it on the PC everywhere. They're not using the X as this. And meanwhile, you look at the X and the frame rate of the S of the frame rate on PC is running faster frame rates. Meanwhile, it's locked. It's around 30 on the X. So you're showing it better. You're showing it better on the you're showing it better on the play. Like how can you say Xbox is the best place to play but then show it on PC? Like really? Like where's your primary focus? Like I understand early in development, E3, you demo on PC as the game is developing and the build maybe not optimized for the console. But when you're a week out, you should not be having GameSpot playing that game on PC. You should hand out Xbox codes for the Xbox and say, this. And I know that it probably works on both, and they probably play it where they prefer. But people asking in the chat, are you playing this on the PC? Same thing with Yabara, all PC. I know he loves PC, but you work for Xbox. Like The Xbox guy, like you have a console that you just sold the holiday $500, and it is like a misfit. It's like, oh, you know, and I think it's bullshit too that they go like, oh, Xbox is the best place to play. I'm like, no, your games run best on Xbox. It's like, oh, you're missing a letter there. Your games play best on the Xbox X. Don't say games play best on Xbox because they play the worst on the S. So, yeah, I know. Well, no, they don't even say Xbox is the best. I think they say plays best on Xbox. I've seen that line after these games. Plays best on Xbox. Games play best on Xbox. I'm like, are you? The S is still on that picture. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? No, you mean games play best on the Xbox X, not Xbox One X, not the Xbox. They play worst. Like, that's what I mean. You got the worst performing console and the best performing console. But you make a statement like that, they play the best. I hope somebody doesn't pick up an S and going, oh, this plays the best. And then they go to C and they see all this, like, this game doesn't look as sharp as their PlayStation. They're slim. Like, that's some bogus shit right there. And then maybe that's why they want a part of the family, so they could put those one-liners in there that make that completely contradict themselves. Because they're talking about the X in that one. Games play best on the X, but they want to try to sell the S. You know what? It's a bunch of that marketing bullshit. That's the stuff rather than just really just showing the real deal. And that's what I mean. Like, I feel they're so fake in their stuff. Like they concentrate on the wrong things. They say the wrong things. They market the wrong things. Get ready for Inside Xbox. Oh my God. Oh my God. If they talk about how the music was done in State of Decay 2, please. They better clear up a lot of the confusion because, man, I was watching again that GameSpot stream yesterday. Those guys were like, oh, I don't know. People were like, hey, can you do co-op base building? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything. They knew nothing. They're like, hey, can you share supplies? They're like, I don't know. I don't know. How big is the world? I don't know. Everything was, I don't know. And it's like, Microsoft, where are your people on this? Like, come on. Like, you guys, they got, meanwhile, they focus on all this other crap. And it's just, their marketing is atrocious. And that's why I have this thing. I have this thing right now. Yeah, man. They were horrible. And after watching GameSpot, and I would even say IGN's coverage, IGN first was a bunch of bullshit. That was hard. They didn't. You watch the coverage of Game Informer on that other game. Yeah, I know. You watch what is it? Days Gone coverage on Game Informer. Watch that hour gameplay and then watch their podcast where they kind of go over the gameplay in the three and I'm talking about the game. It is so intriguing. It's so much detail. It's exactly what you want to hear. And Ryan McCaffrey playing State of Decay 2 was a waste. And GameSpot, those guys playing it, a waste. And I don't know if it's just Game Informer versus those two guys, but man, those guys did such a good job on that game, like how they talked about the details, what you'll do, the atmosphere, and things like that. And meanwhile, you got like the Benny Hill music playing with the GameSpot guys, like, yeah, we just run the building. I don't know, this guy's dead. Oh, and then even IGN did that goofy kind of review from that European guy where he's like joking and reviewing the game at the same time. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know if Microsoft just and again, it kind of went into, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but like that 3-hour review event they did on May 1st, where they basically said, go in there and do whatever you want. They said that the game devs really didn't do that much hand holding, and they basically left and they came back with all these questions. That's where you got all that tethering stuff and all the guests and all this confusion because they said the devs kind of just let them play. And it went back to what I was saying before, when Microsoft's like their idea of games now is this Minecraft where they think everybody's just going to just play with Legos and just like, hey, have fun, do what you want to do. Yay. And it's like, but the game, like, what do I do in this game? Like, what is the purpose? What's the end game? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do this? No, just figure out, explore. Yay. Like, nonchalant bull. Like, yo, like, come on. these games, not every game is that's not how you should approach every game. Like, just sell around, figure it out. No tutorial. Just go into things, go get some loot and die, and then you'll find out it's permadeath. Yeah, just figure it out. Like, yo, seriously. Not every Microsoft game should be just figure it out. And that's, it's really. Oh yeah, they never played the first one. They had no clue what the hell was going on. No, they said no. According to the, I mean, there going to be a new title versus exactly. Yeah, I know. But even State of Decay 2, like they really, those guys were horrible at GameSpot. Man, those guys had, that was just ignorance. They had no clue. They didn't have a reference sheet. They were just playing through to probably get people to view. Probably another reason why State of Decay is probably high on, the Twitch and stuff, because people just want to figure it out. And again, I don't know if it's Microsoft, but this stuff is very secretive. Like, we don't figure it out until we get it on day one. Like, how's this going to run on the X? The game Ultimate Edition you paid top dollar for, $50, $70, whatever top dollar for, comes out in 3 days. I don't know how it runs on the X right now because all I see is PC. I shouldn't be having those questions. That should not be a question right now. I should know I understand you want to keep stuff secretive, like for story and if there is a story, but what's the mission breakdown? What are you doing? What kind of things you add to your base? And, things like that. And I know there's some developer diary, some things out there like that, but it's not at the forefront. It's not on my YouTube streams. It's not in my thing. Like, all I see is the first hour, this, that. And people are just like, the animations and all this other stuff. And it's the same questions I had with Sea of Thieves. Oh, is it going to be more content than the beta? Is it going to be more this? Is it going to be more that? I don't know. And you're leading up to launch and you don't know. And this should not be that. The Microsoft should be. They look at the days gone. That's enough. They didn't ruin it for me. That I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued now. Wow, there's different types of zombies. Those zombies do this when you're there. I know there's a bloater in State of Decay 2. And you get the disease and all this other stuff. I just think the difference is maybe Microsoft, they think that you'll stake around longer if you don't know what the hell's going on. And whereas the shout out to Ant Money came in and Frogs, what's up? And Tiger King. And maybe there's not much depth to the thing. Maybe there's not too much depth to it, and maybe there's so much more depth in, look at a God of War, look at a Days Gone. Like, maybe there's a lot more levels there. There's a lot more levels there that you don't, just by showing it, you have a tutorial. Yeah, and you know what? And I was just saying that about State of Decay and the thing about State of Decay too. It's like, I'm gonna go through the tutorial how many times? Unless I'm the host. Like, am I going to play 5 hours with my friend? And I was saying this earlier in the show. It was like, I'm going to play 5 hours with my friend and then go, all right, I'm going to start my game now. Tutorial. It's like, oh, like, this is how you craft. It's like, oh, I got to go through this shit again. Go now, drive to this lady and get an item and come back here and craft it. It's like, I just did this. That's why I don't like that co-op stuff. And I said it before. If you listen early on about State of Decay 2, how I feel that people were thinking more along the lines of a Borderlands, Destiny, Dying Light, and we're not getting that. And it's going to be, the host and 3 guests, and we'll see how long that sticks around. But, I don't know how much the guests are going to wind up wanting to shoot around if I got to go back and do the tutorial 5 times or do a bunch of missions. Now, if this, and from what I saw, there is some sort of little narrative going on, like, they're talking and the people are talking. So there is some sort of stuff that you're going to probably have to repeat and see if you want to do that or not. Oh, you can't do co-op. Okay. You can't do co-op until you do the tutorial. Okay, good. So you're not redoing that tutorial 5,000 times. That's good. I just really want to know what the mission structure is. I just hope. Because I remember the first game where, like, you went to the farm and then you saw the brothers there and they try to shoot at you. And then you're at the farm and then the horde comes at the farm and you're over there. I remember there were definitely set pieces. And I'm hoping that there's some set pieces in this one, and it's not just a bunch of fetch quests. Go to this, go get some medical supplies, go get this, go get drinks, go get beds, go get this. So, I'm hoping that there's stuff to it. Maybe multi-tiered missions where you go here and the person winds up being dead and you got to go somewhere else. Again, I'm not a game developer, but I just want variety. I don't want fetch quests because that got old in Sea of Thieves. And you could Tiger King says you could play offline, online. They give you options if you want. Well, that's what Tiger King. The thing is that I think this game was being billed as a multiplayer co-op survival game, and it really is just a single player game with NPCs that can be controlled by by humans, and basically they get replaced with their characters. That doesn't sound like a multiplayer online survival co-op game. And I think if you look at the description, that's what it says. It says it's an online multiplayer survival game. And it really isn't, because there's no co-op base building. There's no kind of contributions that you make to the shared world or anything like that. It's basically you come with your supplies, they go and they're there with their supplies and their building. And they're just running around getting their resourcing, and you happen to have to do that. Yeah, so there is a mission to the start of the game. So I know there's got to be some story. There's got to be some story elements. They can't just be random missions. So just hoping, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna get it. I'll have the and check out whoever got that 14-day trial I put up there. But yeah, I got a bunch of trial pass. I might hand out some later on another show. But yeah, have it's just we'll see what it is. I just is like, again, it just all kind of blurs with my head with E3 marketing, messaging, where Xbox is going. And then I look to the right and I'm looking at the competition. I'm seeing Nintendo tease Pokemon. I'm seeing Rage 2 gameplay trailer announced. E3 is not just about less than a month away, but I'm just like, everybody seems to be doing something. And Microsoft is doing something. They're not totally quiet, but they just talk about just weird things, like just weird, like I said, about the Discord presence, about the mixer handoff, about folders. It's just really weird. Like come on, let's talk about the games. And then you look at the Sea of Thieves and you see the updates and stuff, and it's a debacle. Like the guy's apologizing, like, yeah, well, the customizations that we did, yeah, we got feedback that they look the same, so we took them out. The sharing bananas broke our game, so we took that out. We were going to add it, but we took it out. Now we're adding private games, so you don't have to deal with anybody on the seas, which completely breaks the whole message that they were sending. Like, it's a debacle. That's not a game as a service. That's them figuring shit out. Games as a service is like, here's our roadmap. Like, if you want to look at a game as a service, Joe, just look at Ghost Recon. Go look at Rainbow Six, Season 1, or even Fortnite. Season 4, this is what we got. Season 3 is coming out, and it's all adding additional content, new experiences, new players, new maps, new gameplay, new weapons, new things. That's a service. That's a game that keeps you coming. Not like, hey, we're patching in this. Now you could share stuff. Oops, we forgot this. Oh, we're taking this out. Oh, the Kraken's body's still not in the game. We don't promise it. And it's all just a mess. And it's like, that's not a service game. That's them figuring shit. That's a game released early in preview. That's a preview game. That's not a service game. And and that's the other question. My last point that I'm going to leave. My voice is getting a little chat. I got to get back to what I was doing, but I appreciate everybody coming out. We got 12 views right now. Hit the like button, hit the little alerts, because I kind of go in these rants. I'm trying to make a weekly show, like doing this weekly stuff. And then I've been streaming like my VR things because I love doing the VR. I think those are the funniest type of streams. The last one I did was, I didn't even realize it wasn't capturing video, so it's all me yelling, hooing and hollering. I was playing Killing Floor. That game is really good in VR. I got Skyrim here. I got and I'm gonna pick up a couple of new ones. I love just doing the VR thing. I think they're fun. And also have some gameplay, but it also is so easy to stream from the PlayStation to YouTube. Xbox, you can't do that. So I try to do a Mixer thing and then go there. But Mixer, that's another day for another time, that Mixer stuff. But the last point that I was gonna leave people with. Yeah, no. Thanks, Tiger. But yeah, the last thing I was gonna leave with is just the whole let's see now, I lost my train of thought, but basically the whole thing going on with you saw that one. Yeah, I think Tiger King, you were the before I go on. I was like Tiger King, I think you're the one that jumped on my stream and was like on my stream and going like, yo, just want to let you know you're not sharing video. And I was like an hour and a half into the game. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I realized that it was all just a blue screen and it was all just me breathing and going like, oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. Oh, 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 oh. And I gotta tell you, the spider, and you would have to see there's some spider things early on, and I hate freaking spider things. Holy crap, those things were coming at me, and I was just like trying to smash them with my flashlight. Yeah, that was he saved the day because I would have kept going. So, but yeah, it was I decided to keep it up there. I was like, people are laughing at it and stuff like that. I was like, you know what, let me leave it there because I didn't want to just leave a blue screen. People go, what the hell is this? But I left it. I was like, people thought it was funny. I think it's funny. So but yeah, then I did the bar thing at the sports bar. But I do some VR streams, but the grinds my gears. I don't want to keep saying the same stuff, and but I just get these feeling. I just feel it gets all blurred together with the marketing and all this other stuff. And nobody's perfect. Nintendo's not perfect. Sony's not perfect. But coming from a huge Xbox fan, I didn't have a PlayStation 2. I didn't have I was Xbox. I went from Nintendo to Xbox Live and sayonara. I checked in on the PlayStation 3 when God of War 3 came out, played a little bit of that, didn't have party chat. I felt like I was on an abandoned island, and I sold my PlayStation 3 to go get an Xbox One X. I'm sorry, not an X. I'm sorry, an Xbox One original. I sold my PlayStation, and I was like, I don't need this. And then I kept my 360s, and I sold that. But yeah, like, I never really played I played a little bit of Last of Us. I played a little Big Planet. But, I really never, I was all Xbox. And Phil, over the last 2 years, has shown me PC, has led me to go look for games because I was getting bored. I was bored. Services going like I had to sit here and go update 5 monthly updates for Xbox. Oh, we added look for room or look for friends. I'm like, I'm just bored, man. Like, I'm bored. And I was very underwhelmed with Gears of War. I thought it looked great, but I just was underwhelmed. And I'm just like, and then I played Uncharted, and I'm like, holy crap, there's nothing like this on it. There's nothing, and I don't think there's everything gonna be like this. And then I played more, and I'm playing more and more games. Like, I'm just playing Beyond Two Souls now. I'm like probably near the end of it, but I'm like, it's just, I don't know what it is with Sony and their games, but like their games have character. It's the voice acting. It's the graphics. Not that I have the best graphics. Like, well, God of War is totally different, but like, these games look great, and like they just have this kind of sheen on them, and just the storytelling, and that you get involved in the game and you want to see what happens. Like, I played Everyone's Gone to Rapture on PlayStation Now that everybody trashes, but I kind of like PlayStation Now. I think it's pretty good. I like it. I use it Wi-Fi and I use this, but I get to play all those PlayStation 3 games I never played before. And it's great for the kids, to jump on and just have this unlimited amount of games, to jump into Sonic, I was playing Ape Escape 2, which that game is pretty fun too. But yeah, I like it. I don't think it's that bad. If they update the resolution to 1080p, that'll be even better. But it plays pretty well, for a streaming game. And I used NVIDIA streaming services, and it has potential. But yeah, and you know what, Obi, like I thought the same thing. Like, I think there's in the movie business, just like their trailers are really good, but just something about their games and their storytelling. And Everyone's Gone to Rapture is an indie game, but it just, I don't know. Like, it seemed to be more like it keeps me in the loop, because the multiplayer games like the Gears of War and the Halos and all that stuff, they're fun. But what happens is that if your crew doesn't play anymore to try to get everybody online, everybody's so busy now. And I guess it's my age. Like, everybody's just so busy that you got to like coordinate a day to get together to play. We used to just jump on and people would be on all the time. And now it's like, everybody's just like, hey, you want to play for like an hour on Friday? And it's like, okay. And it just doesn't have that kind of like, I'm just grinding out on this stuff. And I think that's why those Fortnites and PUBGs are really popular, because you could play with a squad, but it's also fun by yourself. You could just jump in and you versus everybody. And, it's not like a one-on, like, an 8-person death match. It's actually, you feel like an open world and you're scavenging and stuff like that. And I think it has elements that appeals to people that don't have a lot of time. They can just jump in and get a quick fix, a game if they get killed early. But it's just like, I don't know. And I think that Microsoft's way of just and that's why I think Microsoft's going this accessible route, is because if your friends do play and then you just happen to miss a week or two, you're not lost in the back. And I said, that's excellent. That's a great way to go. But my thing is that there are gaming mechanisms that you could put in the game to do that. I'm not a game developer, but there are ways that you could make that game work without nerfing the game, without making it kind of like, well, for those people that want to dedicate 30 hours a week into this game, no progression. You just get a fancy hat. And we're going to do that because we want Fred, who comes on 5 months from now, to be able at the same level as you guys. Well, you're nerfing the game for the people that really want to play it. And those are the people that are buying it on day one. So there's got to be ways. There needs to be creative game development. And that's where it's up to Microsoft and their game developers to figure that stuff out. Not to just give us an empty shell of a game and say, you guys give us the feedback, we'll fix it. Because you get all this stuff. Like you see Sea of Thieves is a perfect example. You want to follow how not to launch a game at $60? Follow the Sea of Thieves thing. It is ridiculous. They're taking stuff, taking it out, giving it back. It's a disaster. You wouldn't even think that. You would think that they were an indie studio and this game's in preview. Like, it seems like if you look at their stuff, it's even worse than PUBG, because PUBG is still trying to fix their game. The Sea of Thieves is their game works. They're just like adding content, taking it away. It broke the game. It doesn't work. PC had issues. Xbox didn't, but we're going to delay it anyway. It is a mess. And that's how not to launch. That's a first party game from Rare. Holy crap. That's like the creme de la creme studio of Microsoft, whatever's left of it. That was one of their 4 pillars. It's on the same level as 343 and Coalition and Forza Studio. Like, my gosh. Like, I don't know where we go from here. But that was my last point. And now I thought my last point, but I talked too much. But anyway, my last thing is that even though Microsoft, and back to the E3, even though Microsoft comes out and does an E3 thing, and they say we got games, because of the games like Recore, like Sea of Thieves, like Gears of War multiplayer, that really wasn't innovative and really classified as next gen, more of a proof of concept or back to roots. And just look at the variation. Quantum Break without DLC or season passes or things like that. But Lucky's Tales gets like 2 content drops of DLC. If you look at all that stuff, and Microsoft says we got games, now I have to question what kind of games. And now the State of Decay 2 where we're at, where we're like the week it comes out early, and there's so many questions. There's so like kind of like, how does it run on the X? How do we know? Like, how's it gonna, like, what are the story missions? What is the end game? What are we doing? Can we build multiple bases? Can I share bases? Can I, like, a whole bunch of things? And up until launch, we don't know what these games are. And same thing with Sea of Thieves. Like, we don't know what that game is, like, until it launched and realized it was just a shell of a game. It was water and boats. So, like, my thing is that even if Microsoft comes on stage and shows a trailer to a game, I don't have the confidence in them to know that their first party is pumping out quality. And because it goes into Game Pass, I got to be like, what kind of quality is this? Is this a work in progress? Yeah, quadruple A games. Is that 4 games duct taped together? Are those 4 single A games duct taped together? Is that what a 4A game is? Because I don't know anymore. When you hear Sony Santa Monica, when you hear Naughty Dog and it's coming out game, now Guerrilla, when you hear those things, like, and you see what God of War looks like, what even Infamous 2, A Second Son looked like when you see those games, when Sony gets on stage and going, here's our first party, or when Nintendo gets on stage and going, here's the next Mario game, here's the next Zelda, Here's the next Metroid game. When they get on, you're like, okay, here comes the quality. Yo, here it comes. Like, this is the creme de la creme. These are the reference games for the system. I got to look back and go, I can't assume that anymore with Microsoft now. From what they're putting out, the service model, this Game Pass, it's on PC, it's over here, it's share play, it's keyboard and mouse. There's so many variations now with Microsoft that I don't know. I don't have the confidence to know when they say they're putting their Microsoft Studios creature on a game that is going to be the reference game for the system. We don't know. And they added doubt to me. Now, maybe not to you, but to me, I have a lot of doubt. And I am really at a wait and see. And Microsoft's making it really easy to wait and see because everybody else is doing something except them. So, they want us to wait. Gamers are not going to sit here and stare at an Xbox and play 5-year-old games for the next 2 years while you get your shit together. Gamers are going to go find other places. Gamers are thirsty. You see that because we play, especially console gamers. You jump to the hotness. We're not like PC gamers. We don't play a game and watch it come from being a little baby to being the mature game and talk to the devs and say, hey, good job. I like your update and all this other stuff. We don't do that on consoles. We get a sealed package device, a game at $60 or whatever. And when I put that thing in the system, I'm expected to get a full price experience blockbuster game. That's how console gamers think. And then Far Cry and all those other ones. And when Far Cry is done, you're going to jump to the next big game. Red Dead, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, Battlefield. You're going to be hopping to the next hotness. We don't play League of Legends until a keyboard breaks. I got to buy a new keyboard because I've been playing League of Legends for the last 6 years. Console gamers are not like that. We don't do that stuff. So Microsoft has introduced the worst part of PC gaming to the console. Everybody else is giving us polished games or just complete games, where Microsoft is thinking that we want that PC bullshit in our consoles. Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to be a couch developer here. And we don't even have a friggin' keyboard on the Xbox to even type in a comment. You don't have that. On Steam, you have a general discussion area. You could chat, talk, and you could have one-on-ones with developers and feel like you're contributing to the game. There's nothing like that on Xbox. There's some bullshit forum, Xbox forums like feedback.com. Like, that's not how people like. We don't want that. And then you don't give me a half-ass game. And meanwhile, people are tweeting the developer going, you should add this, you should add that, you should do this. Like, guys, that's like the worst part of PC development. Like the wait and like, I'm going to help build this game. Like, console players are not like that. Now, maybe there's something like that, but we pay top dollar for our games. We don't get them for like $10 or $5 at launch with CD keys. We don't do that. And, we go to the biggest hotness. So I really have to question, what kind of quality is Microsoft going to output? And is Game Pass an excuse, kind of their version of Game Preview for their first-party games, where they could put something in there, get an initial bump, and then fix it as it goes on, and then people may be clicking on that game later on, but they'll still say subscribe to Game Pass. They care more about your Game Pass subscription. And like I said, the motif of this grinds my gears is how Microsoft is using the games as a mechanism to deliver the services rather than making the games be the games that they should be. And that's kind of the final thing is just, we got to see what kind of games they announce at E3. We know what Sony's doing. And, you know what? The last thing going on in chat and stuff like that, I think, for the actual E3, I don't think it will leak. I really don't think it'll leak. And you want to know why? Because I really don't think Microsoft has the quote unquote bangers that people are thinking. I think Microsoft has very low key, maybe a surprise here or there if they're going to show a trailer to something. But I think they're going to play it safe. And I think they're going to just talk about this holiday and spring of next year. And their main focus, and they're going to probably say it at every interview. Like last year was 42 games on stage and the power of the X. This year's message is going to be Game Pass and the content coming to Game Pass. That is going to be the focus of this E3, is to drive Game Pass subscriptions and doing that. And I think they're going to have a lot of indie games, maybe a big third party that they'll really tout, like a Rise of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but it's going to all to be promoting Game Pass and Mixer, and that is it. And unfortunately, it should be like the game should be on the pedestal, not the services. The services are nice, but the game should not be sacrificed for the services. Yeah, I know they're in their own theater, but that's another good reason, and that's another thing, the whole theater thing that they're going to be in. You never know. I don't want that to be, oh, well, they're in a new theater. They didn't know what the format and the layout. It was all new layout. So give us a break. We'll learn better from next year. I could see that kind of coming out if this is debacle of an E3. Like, oh, well, this was our first year in a new location. Jeff Keighley, man, he'll be over there snooping. He'll be over in the plants across the street. But anyway, I'm going to go, guys. I want to thank you again for coming out. And, definitely subscribe. I'm going to try to do this. I've been doing this kind of weekly. And this has been Jez7780. Follow me over on Twitter. And this has been another What Grinds My Gears. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. And I'll talk to you soon.